So our lesson today is going to be understanding and analyzing an argument. Okay? So let's look at our objectives for today. Okay, take number 1 for me, please. AC.
I can determine a central idea of a text and analyze its development over the course of the text, including how supporting ideas are used.
Okay, now, we'll notice that's RI 8.2, so that lets you know that our focus today won't be that literary text, Flowers for Algernon, but it's going to be a what?
Reading.
Informational, very good, okay? What keywords do we have in our objective?
Central
Determine.
Okay, central, okay, and I heard determine, central what? Idea. What do we mean by the central idea, Hannah?
Like it's the main objective, or is the main keyword?
Okay, you said the main idea. Jeffrey?
What the whole text is based on.
Okay, and what would we call that in literary
The main idea.
language? Not main idea, if we were reading a short story. What is it? Yeah, exactly. Okay, very good. Okay, let's look at the second objective. Okay, take it for me, please, Aaron.
I can determine an author's point of view or how the author acknowledges conflicting evidence or viewpoints.
Okay, very good. Okay, is something there that sticks out for you, Aaron? A word in that objective?
Author's point of view.
Okay, so we're going to look at that author's point of view. But in addition to that, Jeffrey, what else?
Conflicting events.
Conflicting evidence. Okay, acknowledging conflicting evidence. Okay, what does it mean to acknowledge? What does it mean to acknowledge? If I acknowledge you.
It's like if somebody does something good on a test, and you're like, you did very good on this test. That's like acknowledge. You're telling them that, like, you're giving them feedback on what they did well, or something they might have did bad, or something.
Okay, very good. Yes.
Showing them that you know some stuff about it.
Okay. If I'm acknowledging, that means I'm giving attention to. Okay. All right. So I'm going to acknowledging. What do we mean by conflicting, though? Evidence. Conflicting evidence. Okay, Mr. Ferguson. What do we mean by conflicting?
Something that goes against it.
Okay, goes against. Okay, perhaps on the other side of the what? The debate. Okay? All right, let's look at our final objective for this lesson. And if you will take it for me, please, Mackenzie.
I can trace and evaluate the argument and claims in the text.
Okay. Now, we should all be familiar with that word claims, right? Okay, where do we use claims?
CER.
Okay, in our school-wide strategy, that CER strategy. And so we know we always start with a claim and then pull in what? Evidence and then our reasoning, okay? And so what we're going to do is to take that framework and we're going to actually look at an argument where we're looking at the claim, the evidence to support that, okay, and the reasoning, okay? Do I have any questions on our objectives for today? Okay. All right, so in our agenda, okay, we'll start off by setting the context for this lesson. Now, Charlie Gordon took that inked blot test, and I want you to have an opportunity to kind of experience what that was like from Charlie's perspective. So I have a little video that's titled, What is a Rorschach Test? And it's going to just kind of give us some background information before we go into our next activity, which is a close reading activity titled, What's in an Ink Blot? Okay? We're going to do an evidence charting activity where you're going to look at the claims and counterclaims that will be presented within that text, and then do our closing activity.
You are about to engage in the guidebook unit, Flowers for Algernon. The purpose of this video is to give you more information about the Rorschach test, what it is, and why people use it. So what exactly is a Rorschach test? Why does Charlie in Flowers for Algernon take it? And why do some psychologists or scientists who study human behavior use it to determine and analyze a person's intelligence? These are the questions we are going to be exploring in this lesson. Psychologists debate whether projective tests can actually provide useful information or whether they are unscientific and not useful to assess someone's personality or diagnose a mental disorder. Now, let's look at another excerpt from the article to find out even more about this debate.
Okay, just take your pencil and underline 3 instances where this ink blot test is useful. Okay, where it really works. Jeffrey.
Assessing a patient's intelligence.
Okay, in assessing a patient's intelligence. Kind of looking at how smart is that patient. Okay? Now, it says to circle the part of the sentence where the author states the opposite view. Okay? So go ahead and circle that for me. Where the author states an opposite view. Okay, Grace, where do we get that opposite or opposing view? Okay, it is not clear how much additional knowledge is gained from the test. Okay? So go ahead and circle that as our opposing view. Okay? All right, so.
Let's check your answer. You probably found that the 3 instances where the test is useful are assessing intelligence, diagnosing schizophrenia, and predicting a patient's success in psychotherapy. We might call this the counterclaim. In other words, this is where the author gives an opposing viewpoint from his own.
Okay, go ahead and label for me claim and what? Counterclaim. Okay, because we're going to work with these terms as we move into the next part of our lesson. Okay, the claim, it is not clear how much additional knowledge is gained from the test. Okay, but that author also acknowledges an opposite view, right? And what's the opposite view, Logan? Okay, that the Rorschach appears to have what? Greater validity in assessing intelligence, diagnosing schizophrenia, and predicting a patient's success in psychotherapy. Okay, and we're going to move into our next activity. Okay, so we're going to read the informational text. What's it in ink blot? Some say Not Much by Erica Good. As we're reading, of course, we're going to pay attention to our academic vocabulary. Now, one thing I've done for you, I've given everyone a green sheet. Okay, so go ahead and get your green sheet out. Okay, and as we're reading, okay, I have some key vocabulary, Logan. Okay, so you need to have that green sheet right next to you as we're reading. So what you should have is your article. You should have your 3 colored pencils. Okay, and if you're fine, you're fine. Okay, go ahead. We're going to go with the green and the red. Yeah, you're fine. We'll just go with the green and the red. Okay, so make sure you have that out for me. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and get started with a model. Okay, what's in an ink blot? Some say not much. All right, guys, thinking about that paragraph, what do we think?
Red.
Okay, red, so that's an argument against. What are we highlighting there? Because we don't need to underline everything. What's flawed?
The thematic the tat and the draw a person test is
Okay, is it just the tat and the draw person? If we go back, what else?
It's the
ink blot test.
Ink blot test, thematic apperception test, and the draw what? Person test. Or what? Seriously flawed and should not be used in court or the consulting room. Okay? Okay, paragraph 6, if you'll read it for me, please, Logan.
There's been a substantial gap between the
Substantial.
physical was of these texts and what the research suggests about the
Validity.
validity. Said that Dr. Scott
Lilienfeld.
an associate professor of psychology at Emory University, in the lead of the article. The research continues to suggest that they are not as useful for most purposes as many
Clinicians
believe.
believe. Okay, what do we need to do there? Okay, is it argument for or against?
Green.
Okay, okay, so give me what's being supported there. Okay, give me the evidence.
Appears as research about their value and
Okay, class, do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, do you agree that this paragraph supports the use?
Oh, wait.
No.
Okay, because I'm here, no. Okay, it's actually evidence
For the counterclaim.
for the counterclaim. So what are we going to highlight, Jeffrey?
It's where it says, the research continues to suggest that they are not as useful for most purposes as many clinicians believe.
Awesome, let's go ahead and underline it, okay? Okay, at the very end, okay, the research continues to suggest that they are not as useful, okay, for most purposes as many clinicians believe, okay? Okay. All right, now, what I'm going to ask you to do, okay, is to go ahead and look at paragraphs 7 through 17. We're going to stop at 17. And I just want you to identify, okay, whether or not you have evidence to support the argument, okay, that these projective tests are useful and effective, okay, or is it evidence to support that these projective tests are not useful and effective? Okay, starting with paragraph what? 7. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move you into your learning teams, okay? And so what you can do is to kind of divide up how you'll actually handle this, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and ask.
Yeah. Certain details are like, it's just underline all sentence. It does take a
What we have to do reflecting underlying personality traits?
That's
what I did.
Oh, you continued on to the whole sentence?
So, test taker responds and assumes the reflection underlining personality trait. I don't know how to separate that without underlining the entire sentence.
Alright.
Okay, so there's 3 tests that are known as projective, and they present people with an image or a situation, and they interpret or make sense of it.
Oh, so this number 8 is just explaining what it is. Okay, so it doesn't have any brain.
Yeah, now in number 9, it's just talking about, in like cat, they're supposed to ask to tell a story, and then they're giving they're supposed to draw a person on a blank sheet of paper, and then they're supposed to draw a person of an opposite gender.
Alright, so you didn't find nothing in these?
Yeah.
So 10 and 11, did you find anything?
Ability to diagnose mental illness.
Access, what's your breakdown of around points of view?
Is it limit their interpretation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's telling them what's wrong. Like, it's telling them if they're predicting, like, they're sexually abusive, like, if predicting behavior, like, when they predict their behavior, like, with.
But it says it's very limited.
But still, it works.
But it's basically saying it doesn't get the job done very well. That's basically what it's saying.
Just because it, like, it'd be different if it said it doesn't do anything.
Number 9. Yeah, look at what I did. I used still lip sync. Okay, guys, go ahead and write it down on your orange slip. And once you're done, I want you to place it up on the chart paper for me.
What should we write on the?
We're gonna write. No, we're not gonna write it all. Just partly.
I mean, this part.
Oh, there. With comprehension system, a test can yield a complex picture of people's psychological strengths and weaknesses.
That's what, just that right there.
Yeah.
All the way to the comma.
Yeah. But how is it related to that though? AC, how is it related to that?
So the test could yield a complex. Okay. Because they're saying it's giving you a complex information to tell you about the strengths and weaknesses. But then on our one that's like our claim that says that's like not going against it, it's like we're adding little information and it's not really much. I would say keep going until you get to right there.
Well, I was thinking comma, I mean, comma.
Yeah.
Claim that in paragraph 33 that there is no evidence that they wrote that is useful for custody hearing, and we can use the ellipses or like the rest of them. Number 30 is the one. The custody hearing and usefulness. That's just summarize all of like the diagnosed depression, anxiety, all that. So I summarize all that.
Yeah, but it's not
So
enough.
that's what we're going to
It's the only thing. You get
Well, because it says that there's virtually no evidence that it can accurately, so if you were supporting it, you would say that it can, but you're saying that it doesn't.
Okay, team 1 is here. So I should have my green and my orange. Okay, claim and counterclaim.
So we remember what?
Why don't you pick this counterclaim to support the claim?
Because it said plenty of studies that can show how, the workshop, we help you identify what the other person is, like, upset about.
Okay, so people who have mental disorders or depressed. Okay, so
Claim doesn't
that the test is what is that word flawed mean?
like,
Flawed, like it's not cultured.
It's not perfect, it's not reliable. Excellent. Okay, and this is saying, yeah, but there are plenty of studies that show that it is what?
Accurate.
Yeah, and that it is working. Go ahead and put your stickies up. Okay. All right, guys. We've identified multiple claims made in what's in an ink blot, some say not much, to learn about the controversy surrounding the use of projected tests. Okay? So, did we determine what the central idea of this passage is? What is the central idea, AC?
Whether the ink blot is like good for psychology or not.
Okay, whether or not it's a reliable and valid instrument to use. Okay, I can determine an author's point of view, Mackenzie, or how the author acknowledges conflicted evidence or viewpoints. Did we see conflicted evidence and viewpoints in that particular text? Of course we did.
Like when they were arguing whether it was like good or not.
Okay? All right, and finally, I can trace and evaluate the argument and claims in a text. Did we trace that argument?
Yes.
How do we do that, Aaron?
We used counterclaim and claim.
We used,
Counterclaim and claim.
okay, and what did we do to kind of trace where all of the positives?
We used our color pencils to underline what was a claim like against it, or maybe a counterclaim that was like not, that was like for it.
Absolutely. Okay, finally we're going to go ahead and move to our exit slip, and that's the hot pink slip on your table. Okay, and it asks you to just summarize both sides of the argument about the Rorschach test in your own words. Whether it works or not, whether it's a valid test or not. Okay? And on one side of it, we have people who are saying it's not valid. Okay? The data, okay, is not meaningful. Okay, but on the other side of that, we have people who are saying that, hey, this test has been around for what? For a long time. Yeah, it's offering some really valid information. Okay? All right, now, as we close out, I'll collect your exit slips from you at the door. Okay? We're going to go ahead and kind of think about our next steps. We'll continue with our reading of Flowers for Algernon and prepare to launch into our research simulation task for next week.